today's case is about Jesse Ross. So, Jesse Ross was 19 years old when he disappeared from the Sheraton Office and Towers Hotel in Chicago in November of 2006. So, Jesse was from Kansas City, Kansas. He was a very bright person and he was very close to his family, especially to his mom. He was really active. He played soccer, he ran track, and he joined the Boy Scouts. He also loved music, and he was actually managing a band in high school. So he was a sophomore at the University of Missouri from Kansas City, where he was majoring in communications with a minor in politics. Now he was pursuing a career in radio, and right before his disappearance, he had gotten a job as a radio personality on a local radio station. So he went to Chicago with 13 of his fellow students for a mock UN conference at the Sheraton Office and Towers Hotel in Chicago. The group themselves stayed at the Four Points Sheraton Hotel, which was only a 10-minute walk away from the hotel where the conference was being held. So on November 20th, he called his mom to say that he was having a blast and that it was a great conference. And he said that he would call her the next day when the group would head back to Kansas City. So on the last night of the conference, so this, like November 20th was the last day of the conference. So on the last night of the conference, there was a dance and several parties happening at the Sheraton Office and Towers Hotel, so where the conference was being held. Friends of Jesse said that he was attending and he was drinking alcohol, and on surveillance footage, we can see Jesse leaving his hotel at around 12:43 a.m. to attend the dance in the other hotel. Now, after the dance at 1 a.m. on the morning or the night of November 21st, an emergency meeting was called for the mock UN conference at the Sheraton Office and Towers Hotel, so where he already was for the dance. Apparently, it's quite common at these mock UN conferences to call emergency meetings at all hours of the night because they are trying to prepare these students for real life and emergencies in real life. So Jesse made it to the meeting, and around 2 a.m. they called for a break, and Jesse is seen leaving through one of the side exits, and this was the last time that Jesse was ever seen. Now, there's no surveillance footage of him leaving the hotel, and I found this a little bit confusing because it said everywhere that every entrance and exit of the hotel had surveillance cameras except for those entries and exits, or except for those entrances and exits on the south side of the hotel. But nobody seemed to know if the conference was taking part on the south side and if he had exited on the south side. Now, presumably so, because he wasn't caught on surveillance cameras, but I'll get back to that because, yeah, anyway, it's not known what side of the hotel he was on, but anyway, he wasn't caught on surveillance footage anywhere. Now, it's not known whether he was just going out for a break and some fresh air, or whether he was going back to his hotel, or whether he was just, leaving the conference altogether. The 10-minute walk that he had to take back to his hotel was well lit with a lot of traffic and security cameras throughout, but he's not seen walking on any of the surveillance footage. According to Jesse's roommate, he got back to his hotel around 5 a.m. and he saw Jesse sleeping on his bed, and he didn't want to switch on the light and wake him up. So he just went to bed himself. And then when he woke up the next morning, he saw that it wasn't actually Jesse in his bed, but that it was a pile of Jesse's clothes. Now, he didn't think anything of it because he assumed that Jesse had either spent the night in someone else's room, or that he had actually seen Jesse the night before, but that he got up early and went for a walk or breakfast or something like that, and that he just left his clothes behind. So, and this is what I find really weird, he packed up Jesse's suitcase and went to the meeting point where everyone was supposed to gather to head back to university. But when Jesse didn't show up, that's when they reported him missing. I find it so bizarre that he decided to pack up Jesse's suitcase and take it with him to the meeting point, having no idea where Jesse is. Like, if I go on vacation with my friend and she's not there in the morning and we have to leave for the airport soon, I'm not going to pack up her suitcase for her. I'm going to try to do everything I can to find her. And the first thing I would do is report it to someone. There was a teacher that was overseeing the entire group. He could have just gone to him to say, hey, I can't find Jesse anywhere. What do I do? But he just packed up his suitcase and took it to the meeting point, which I just find, I don't know, I find that really strange behavior. So police started investigating, but since Jesse went missing right before Thanksgiving, a lot of students that were attending the conference had already gone home for vacation. And the students that were there with Jesse didn't want to talk to the police, and they didn't want to talk to Jesse's parents, which is already really sketchy. Like, they just point blank refused to talk to the police. So police were very frustrated by the lack of evidence in this case and the fact that they couldn't find Jesse anywhere on surveillance footage. They kept monitoring his cell phone and his bank accounts, but neither were used since his disappearance. They then turned their attention to the Chicago River, which ran right by the hotel. They used police divers and brought in cadaver dogs, but they couldn't find anything. So, divers didn't find his body, and cadaver dogs didn't pick up his scent anywhere. The hotel did have a walking path to the river, and a lot of investigators believe that he fell in the river, that he either slipped, or he was on his phone and got distracted and fell in, or that he jumped in. However, some investigators don't believe this story and find that this case just doesn't make sense to them. The professor who chaperoned this trip actually quit his job because he was so haunted by what happened to Jesse. And his parents no longer believe that he's alive, but they still want to know what happened to him. So every year on his birthday, they send a birthday card to the investigators so they don't forget about him. How haunting is that? So here are some theories. The first theory is that he actually fell into the river, but divers didn't find his body. And there's also a giant iron fence along the walkway. So he really couldn't have fallen in. He would have to climb over the fence and jump in, but nobody saw him do that. Some people believe that, maybe he did that and he committed suicide, but his family were quick to say that they didn't believe that because he had literally just gotten a job that he loved. He was very close to his family. He seemed very happy, and I know that you don't always know when someone is suffering mentally. Trust me, I know that. But he had no history of mental illness, and genuinely not a single person in his life saw any signs of unhappiness with him, so I don't really believe that he committed suicide. Some people also said, I read a comment from someone living nearby who said that the Chicago River doesn't flow directly to a nearby lake. Like, police stated that his body could have drifted off into another body of water and just disappeared, but this person said it doesn't flow to the nearby lake, and there are locks that guide the water flow, and that the vast majority of people who have gone into the Chicago River over the years have all been found. So it's unlikely that he's in the river and hasn't been found. Another theory is that he went deeper into Chicago to pass out flyers to promote that band he was managing, and that he ran into trouble. He loved music, and a lot of people believe that he left the conference to go to explore the music scene in Chicago City. He was described as being fearless, so maybe he didn't realize he was going to a bad part of town, and maybe he ran into some shady people. One of the attendees of the conference, not of Jesse's school, but just another attendee of the conference, said that the students were acting very reckless. They went to questionable places to eat very late at night, and they were drinking a lot. So, it's not unplausible or implausible that he went into Chicago and, went to a shady place and just, was met with foul play. Then another theory is that he went back to his hotel, but he went undetected by cameras and he met with foul play along the way. However, I'm not sure that there's a path to his hotel that didn't have cameras anywhere, because the path that he would normally take had cameras everywhere. I'm sure there are other paths to take, but given the area that it was in of Chicago, I don't know if they didn't have cameras. For as far as I know, everything was covered, so it would be extremely bad luck that he happened to go undetected that night. But foul play does explain why he hasn't been found yet. What I find strange, and this is about the south side of this hotel and him not showing up on the security footage, the last time that he is seen on surveillance footage is when he was in the lobby of his own hotel at 12:43 a.m. on his way out. You don't see him actually leaving the hotel, but he was very close to the exit, so it's presumed that he was on his way out. From then on, he's not seen anywhere. Never mind that he's not seen walking back to his hotel. He's not seen walking to the other hotel. He's not caught on surveillance footage on the way there. He's not caught going into that hotel. He's not caught going out of that hotel. Now, people say he was at the party. People say he was at the conference. But people's word is all we have to go on. Because there's no footage of him anywhere. So I wonder whether something happened in his group, whether, while he was leaving his hotel to go to this conference, he was either maybe attacked by some students in his group, or some accident happened and they were trying to cover it up. So they all said that he was at the conference, but he never actually was. It's the only thing that explains to me why they don't want to talk to the police, and why his roommate packed his suitcase. Like, that kind of indicates to me that his roommate knew he wasn't going to come back to the room and wonder where all his stuff was. I find his actions very strange, and I find it strange that the students don't want to talk to the police. So I don't know, but the fact that he's not seen anywhere after supposedly leaving his hotel, I find that very sketchy, and it makes me doubt that he was actually at the conference. So let me know what you guys think. I just want to say one thing. Sometimes I get comments on these cases from people who seemingly knew the victim or knew the suspect, and leave really nasty comments about how I'm getting it wrong, or I should do my research better. If you know a suspect in any of the cases I cover and you believe that they're not guilty, that's fine. But A, you can say that in a nice manner, and B, I only mention what I find, and trust me that I do really diligent research. If you believe he didn't do it, it is a very likely chance that no article will mention that. And so this this is all the information I found, and I always find multiple sources that say the same thing. So if you're one of the students, or you know one of the students, and you're like, well, he was definitely there, or he did have a history of mental illness or something like that, you are more than welcome to let me know that. But it's just not something I found in my research, and I'm just, reporting what I find. So I just wanted to let you know that yes, I'm not always going to get it right, but investigators don't always get it right, and journalists don't always get it right. I only tell you guys what I find. So I hope that this is all correct, but it could very well not be. So please, 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 if you have more information, or you just want to set something straight, please do it in a nice way, because there's just no need for hate, okay? So, as always, thank you for watching, and please comment